So I know the lighting is not so great right here, but I do like the tree behind me. Okay, so I wanted to do a video about this woman who I had stumbled upon her story some time ago, and I've really been wanting to do a video about her life, but how um, this woman, and like many women that go unknown, so many that I have even met with, in the time frame that I have been houseless, homeless, on the streets, and even some that were before that, that have had very similar stories or situations. And I wanted to uh, respect her son and not share her story in a negative and uh, and in a way that is, you know, disrespectful to him, based on him not wanting his mother's story shared. However, utilizing her story as a beacon of light and enlightenment, as well as using it as a uh, teaching point and lesson, because there are so many people that actually go through this. Um, and so if we can make people maybe not so much so as utilizing her story for her story specifically in that sense, but utilizing it to help teach the youth as well as other women that these are the dangers that are out there and the type of tactics that are used when women are in particular situations that, you know, evils and evil people will see as vulnerable and attempt to do very unrighteous, very negative, evil things, right? And so, hold on, I'm gonna pause until these two gentlemen walk past. Okay, so I do want to respect her son and I do respect his wishes. However, I've seen so many different parallels to what happened to this son, this, young boy's, young man now, his mother, and what my own alleged family literally was doing things, not an agency. Okay, so they're trying to mess with my throat chakra. So literally, people that were supposed to be my alleged family members were doing things and sabotaging me to literally end up in a very similar situation as this woman. Okay. Thankfully, not only have I been, street wise and street smart, how I've also been book smart, and I have seen the many different tactics and um, ways that these types of individuals, real living devils, right? Real, like, the devil is not red with a pitchfork. He looks like Suzy down the street, okay? That lives right next door. Looks like Poindexter. Looks like, not, some of these people look, square, but they're evil in their heart, like sick, so sick and diabolical. So I'm going to, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time. However, I haven't had a way to show you guys the video and her story, you know, with another device, right? And so I'm going to play her story on this phone. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. If not, maybe I'll do a separate recording. And
I ran across this story on my Twitter timeline, and I thought I'd make a video about it. Suzy Perez was a sexy video model back in the 90s.
Let me rewind it a little bit.
Now let's get into it. I ran across this story on my Twitter timeline, and I thought I'd make a video about it. Suzy Perez was a sexy video model back in the 90s. Back when the girls were more natural. No seal, no surge.
I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to have to turn around so that you guys can, so it will be more light so you guys can actually see it. I didn't realize that it was going to be that dark. You know, when I'm doing these videos and everything, like, and maybe I should do this, but I don't do any kind of script. I literally, basically, I don't do a script. I don't do any of that. I just literally hit record and I just start going. Okay? So let me see which way is going to be the best for lighting. I guess it's going to be this way. Okay, so let's start that video over, and I'm going to maybe I'll edit it out, but I really want you guys to be able to see the video, because this woman, absolutely gorgeous, had a bright future and career, and jealous, hateful people, I'm talking about evil people that, you know, basically it's like they want to take out the competition. You know, that's the way I look at it. And the more and more you study some of these celebrities, you see that a lot of them have been in this type of evils. Like, it's not just her story. There's so many of the stories. Like, you know, I think it was Kanye West that was saying that a lot of people come up missing in Hollywood, but that's true. I was raised pretty much my whole life in California and in Khalifian territory. And, you know, I was so desensitized to evils and things that happened as a child. Bye, sweetheart. I was so desensitized to, you know, the evils that I was like literally surrounded with, that I didn't even like become sensitive again to things until I moved to Texas. And I actually had, you know, the time and opportunity and space to, one, slow down, because, like, you know, California life, the Khalifian territory life here is so fast paced that you'll just be going through one thing after another, and you're, before you can even process and deal emotionally, you know, and mentally, and, you know, all of, sometimes even physically process and go through those things to heal, or to just even process and understand what's even going on, you literally, you don't have time, right? And you're already going through that next thing, right? And you're having to deal with that situation. So, you know, anyways, so life was definitely a lot slower in Texas for me, that I actually had time to, you know, deal with a lot of those things that I hadn't had a chance to deal with per se and process before. Oh my God. Hold on, hold on. I'm gonna pause the video. The kitty is trying to eat my food. She's so hungry. That's so sad. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys this. The cat is so hungry and didn't know how to get in. Her little teeth markers are right there in the box. It's it's cute, but it's also sad at the same time. So I don't know if she'll eat all of this, but I guess I'm going to give her an entire piece of the pizza and she can just eat what I had to get a gluten-free pizza, and because I'm lactose, obviously it's no cheese on there. So I don't know how much of this she'll actually eat. I was kind of worried about putting it on this little, on this cement right here because of bugs, but I wasn't thinking about the cat getting in there. So I love you. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna come back out here and get in the good light so that we can do this video. And because that is a stray kitty, a feral kitty, uh, you know, I want to give her her space. Yeah, she's going to town. She's eating that. Let me see if I can get it on there. Yeah, she's eating it. Oh, she's so hungry. Anyways, so I'm actually going to show you guys this video, and hopefully it is bright enough that you can see like how beautiful this woman is, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of the same women that were coming up in that time frame had, jealousy or issues with her being in the spotlight as well, because one, she is so beautiful. It's kind of like the situation, as they say, like, certain rappers wouldn't even be prevalent, and they wouldn't even have a space to be in the limelight as much as they are in this day and age had they not had certain rappers still been alive. Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of that.
No seal, no surge. Beautiful body, beautiful smile.
Okay, let's see.
Suzy Perez, sexy video model back in the 90s. Back with the girls.
Dang, you can't see it.
No seal, no surge. Beautiful body, beautiful smile. All I get from my photos is boss ass Latina chick.
Okay, maybe what I'll do is take screenshots of her so that I can put it inside of the video, because for some reason I'm not being able to. God, yeah. So it's not showing on the camera.
And it's said to be willing to do whatever for a couple times. This is all just so unfortunate. This lady was gorgeous and was living her dream.
Yeah.
And now to end up on the streets of New York.
Okay, so I'm gonna start it over, and I'll probably edit this, but I'll put pictures of her, and I just want you guys to hear her story so that you guys can hear, like, part of what happens to, beautiful people.
Back when the girls were more natural. No seal, no surge. Beautiful body, beautiful smile. All I get from her photos is boss ass Latina chic. Suzy worked with the likes of J-Lo and many more. She was on the cover or featured in many urban magazines. Suzy went from having this budding and promising urban model career to just going full Casper the Ghost, just gone without a trace. Until a couple years back, Suzy popped up on the streets, but unfortunately, she was and still is going through it. It's clear she has some addiction to heavy drugs, and because of this has ended up homeless on the streets of New York. Suzy suffers from many mental illnesses and is said to be willing to do whatever for a couple dollars. This is all just so unfortunate. This lady was gorgeous and was living her dream. And now to end up on the streets of New York, homeless, is just the harsh reality of life and the harsh reality of being addicted to drugs. Everything is not what it seems. You see these people and they have all these material things. They're living their best life. They have clout, they have attention, but at the end of the day, they are human, imperfect, flawed, just like the rest of us. Rumor has it that Suzy got put onto a modeling agency that was really just a cover-up for some Italian or Sicilian mob bosses to push drugs. They would literally have these businesses as fronts to clean up their dirty money that they would earn from selling drugs. They would also have the girls or models sell the drugs or use the drugs to be in porn videos, music videos, whatever it took to clean up the money. Now you may be wondering, where's her family? Well, once this story went a bit viral on the internet, a nephew of Suzy's made an Instagram post explaining what the family has done. He explained how once things went viral, they saw how Suzy was living. The family went looking for her, they found her, they fed her, they gave her clothes, they offered to take her in, but she refused. He also revealed that Suzy does have a son who turns out to be transgendered and has allegedly been trying to help her, but is living in another state with his father, working a minimum wage and not able to afford to be able to assist his mother. Here's what he had to say about the situation.
I just want to say this because people make it seem like it's okay to videotape my mother, highlight what she's going through, but that's not helping her. She is struggling with addiction and is poor and is a woman of color on the streets and has bipolar depression. And filming her and tagging World Star Hip Hop is not okay. My mother is not a social media topic. She is a woman struggling with addiction. If you are sick, if you think you're gonna get some attention from posting her shit, it is disgusting. That other people of color are doing this to her in her community.
So I want to say this, like, that's another reason why I really thought about doing this video, because I do feel for her son. Okay, and I, as a mother who lost my first child, right, when I was 17 years old, and people that know me know this story, but people that don't know. And so I went 38 weeks, right? 2 weeks away from having my daughter, and she passed away. And I literally waited 15 years before I had my first living son. And I have 4 sons living today. And like, I look at him and what he has went through as a son, and can only imagine, because of what I went through being in foster care and group homes myself, and all the lies and things that I actually experienced, right? And can relate to him. However, also knowing that my own sons are actually being lied to about me and what I have done and been through, and what I have done to actually love and show love towards my sons, that I hope know at least some of the things, like my Indigenous children's story time, that I read books to them, but I don't know today how much of that they actually know. But what I do know is that the same way that his mother actually was done is basically what these diabolical people that are my alleged family members wanted for me, you know? And it's very, who'd you get the sunflowers for?
My girlfriend.
Oh, that's
It's your
sweet.
birthday.
Oh, so I said happy solar return. I don't say birthdays, but happy solar return. Okay. So, you know, I can relate to this on so many different levels, and I can see so many different perspectives of this situation that happened with his mom. Okay. I can see it from the child's perspective as being a child that was, constantly lied to by adults and people that should have been, advocating for me, telling me the truth, fighting for my rights, fighting for me, and stuff like that, that were absolutely not. And some of them in which I actually had to fight against because of the things that they were attempting to do to me as a youth, right? So I had to protect myself, right? Even as a youth. And so this young man is fighting to protect himself, but also to protect his mom, right? And what was done to her is not okay. But there are tactics, there are things that these people do. And some people were saying that, in their videos about her, is that it was a modeling agency that she had signed contracts with, and she had to do, basically whatever these people wanted because of the contract. But I'm going to tell you straight up, regardless of whatever the front was, modeling agency, acting, dancing, whatever it was, it's human trafficking, dude. And she doesn't have a drug addiction because she has a drug addiction. That's one of the ways that they trap people within their realm, okay? So, do you know how many people who have come around me and attempted to do drugs, even while I was pregnant? Even while I was pregnant, not when I was really pregnant with Nazi per se, but when I was pregnant with my 3 younger sons here in Califian territory, what people misnomer as California. Yes, there were a lot of people that tried especially to come around me doing meth, and I don't do drugs. I don't drink, none of that. So the thing is that they were attempting to come around me for a couple of reasons. One reason was because they had lied about results. They had fabricated results. They had attempted to misconstrue and basically lied in court, which is called perjury. They did all these things. So then when actual people would investigate and literally come and speak to me or see me that had been privy to some of this information, they were like, wait a minute, she eats healthy, she takes care of herself, she's clean, she is articulate, she is very wise and knowledgeable and things like that. So then how is this true? This can't be true. And so they would see that it had to be lies just based on, actually meeting me and seeing with their own eyes and speaking to me. They were like, no, what's really going on? Because what has been stated in these, court files, these alleged court files, what has been stated by these different family members, it's just not adding up. So that was one reason. Another reason is that these family members lied so much that they had to, because it wasn't true, then they wanted to make it true. So They were literally hiring people or convincing people to go around me and offer me drugs or attempt to get me hooked onto drugs, right? I've had my food poisoned, I've had drinks poisoned, or drugs. I've had all these different things so that they could attempt to make their lies true when they were 100% full of shit and lies, okay? So, if you don't know how these people operate, their tactics, their markers, their hidden languages, their street languages and stuff like that, man, you could get swallowed up. I'm telling you. Okay, let's not even just Suzy Perez, right? Let's talk about Shanquilla, right? She was with a whole group of people that were supposed to be her friends that were jealous of her and her success. They all went on a trip. This is supposed to be a vacation, celebration, and they killed her. Right? You also have oh God, Left Eye, Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Right? Her man cheated on her. She literally set his basketball shoes on fire in the bathtub, which is all tile, You would think that that could be contained, right? And it's not going to set the whole house on fire. The house that gets caught on fire, and they're trying to make her out to be crazy, but it was like she caught him cheating and it was a heat of passion type thing that, she wanted to get back at him because her heart was hurt. And not only that, he gave her something that she just couldn't get rid of, per se. A sexually transmitted disease that she went to Usha Village in Honduras, to Dr. Sebi's Usha Village, to spiritually cleanse as well as physically cleanse, because he had the remedies to help, I don't say that cure word, to help heal her body naturally so that she could, get rid of what he gave to her. And out of 6 people in an SUV, she's the only one that died in a crash. Sounds a little suspect to me and suspicious, especially when she was going to use her platform to help, market, not only market, but just like spread the news and word about Dr. Sebi. And she had a large audience, especially of young people, right? And so, I find it interesting, but not coincidental, that Nipsey was actually going to, do a whole documentary on Dr. Sebi, right? And he shortly after not only getting a truce between Bloods and Crips in the hood in SoCal, in Southern Khalifian territory, but also, showing them Dr. Sebi's work of health and wellness and doing the documentary about him, right? That he actually was unalived as well, right? So now, Dick, I was going to say Dick Gregory, not Dick. I was putting Dick Gregory and Nick Cannon together. Nick Cannon took that over, and look at how, basically the media and stuff are doing him with his shows and all this stuff, So anyways, the point is that when you have been raised in a particular area, you can see, or you are privy to knowledge, and you are in the know of certain things, right? And because these things were actually attempted on me, I could see the similarities and the parallels to, some of these other people, right? And what has happened to them. Universe is like literally agreeing with me, like, okay, you heard the horn, right? So that's confirmation. So this is exactly how some evil, jealous, envious, diabolical people that said that they care about me, that, were fake friends, that, like Shanquilla's friends, that were supposed to be family members, right, to me, right? We already know I'm asking Maury for them DNA tests, right? So we know that, that's up in the air until we get the DNA, okay? Because I'm not claiming none of them until then, until further notice, until I got that DNA. Just like people want to know if the child, is theirs from DNA. Well, I got to know if this woman is my mama, which I could probably. I'm not a gambling individual, but I could bet some money. If I had some money, I would bet some money that she ain't my mama. Okay, and that she had a part in unaliving my mom. So, see, it happened with an older generation, and they thought, I guess, that it was going to happen to me, or they could do that. But every tactic that they have attempted has failed miserably. Thankfully, because I have a strong spiritual team, I have my ancestors that I honor, right? And I have my guardian angels, even the animal kingdom that watch out for me. Okay? So I got all of nature that surrounds me and will whoop somebody because it loves me and cares for me that much. The whole omniverse is with me. So what they say, if God is for you, who could be against you? Right? Okay? Because I live my life in righteousness, and that's not like a front. That's like real. That's for real. And people come to me and have been coming to me since I was a little girl, because they know that I'm going to give it to them raw, uncut, and the truth. I used to get beat as a child. You're as a mother and father or caretaker of children, part of the objective is to teach your children right, to be truthful and honest. And well, I wasn't taught that, right? I was actually disciplined and whooped and beat maliciously, horrifically, right? For telling the truth, because these adults, they could not handle the raw and uncut truth, as they say, out of the mouths of babes. Well, I'm gonna tell you, my tongue, it has been like a double-edged sword, and I was just slaying them, slaying them, and all the adults could do, right, is try to physically harm me, right? Or, some of them, went the spiritual route, and they've been doing witchcraft and voodoo and hoodoo and bitchcraft and witchcraft and all this stuff, to try to come against me. And, I'm sure probably my real family, right? And bloodline lineage. However, the thing is that I do care about this young man, because I care about my own sons. I care about my own sons and what they're being lied to. Like, I know I was lied to as a child, right? And I care about his feelings, and I care about his mom and what happened to her. And I know that this is not just her story. This is many people's story that have had talent and gifts and beauty. And, there's a lot of beautiful people that are murdered because of their beauty at a young age, because of envious, jealous people. This woman, she went through this, because I can guarantee you there's a woman up there that's successful right now, because she's in this situation, right? On the streets, homeless and on drugs, right? They got to where they got because she didn't make it to where she was supposed to be. You heard what I said? You heard me? You heard me? If she would have made it where she was supposed to be with her gifts and talents, the motherfuckers wouldn't be there where they at right now. So it has to do with greed, jealousy, and competition. And knowing that this beautiful woman would have had the spotlight and was owning it that so hard and so tough that they couldn't stand in her shine. This woman was beautiful. They couldn't hold a candle to her beauty. And I'm not just talking about physical beauty, right? Some people, they're beautiful and they're evil, and they don't have the glow, they don't have the shine, they don't have that it factor. You know, they don't have, you know, the authenticity. You know, they could take some acting classes, and they can, take some etiquette classes and some charisma classes and read some books and stuff like that. But there are some people that are natural and they just have it, right? And I'm going to tell you, haters love to hate those type of people. Listen, I grew up in foster care and group homes, right? I wouldn't always even have clothes. I wouldn't always have food. I wouldn't always know where I was going to be staying, right? And I would run away from different foster homes and stuff that were abusive, neglective, verbally trying to be pedophiles towards me, all kind of craziness. I would run away, but I was the problem, right? You know, I would run away, and then I would have, different gangs, mafias, whatever you want. They would harbor me as a runaway, and that's why I'm going to tell you this. I got a lot of respect for different gangs and different mafias, because I know that a lot of them have high moral standards. See, you think gang and you just think thug and, up to no good, just smoking weed all day and doing drugs and just acting crazy and nonsense. No, there's a lot of them that have, and different ones, right? I'm not saying all of them, but have structure and codes and standards and rules, right? That they hold themselves accountable to, and actually doing things in the community. A lot of these quote unquote gangs were actually community activist programs in the community before they turned it around to be something else. You better really look up what these things are, because the mainstream wants you to think that a lot of these gangs started over people stomping or scuffing up other people's shoes. No. A lot of this stuff, like Crips and Bloods, they were active in the community with doing community services, giving community services. But when you let somebody else tell your story about what they have hidden or covert or out in the open, agenda, right? They're going to try to flip the script and turn the story into something else, right? Because even the Panthers, they got WIC from it. Listen, Panthers inspired WIC, Women, Infant, and Children's programs, right? They also inspired the free breakfast and free lunch programs at every school in all the public schools, right? So as much as they want to make them look like, oh, they were, evil and bad and they were racist, no, they had multiple different ethnicities within their group. And most of those ethnicities were lower class people, per se, or marginalized groups that actually came together and started doing for self, right? They say, what do they say? The bootstraps, like pick yourself up and strap up your bootstraps, or what, something like that. Either way, They basically are telling you to do for self, but then when they do, they send in all these agents and provocateurs, and they send in all this disruptors to basically turn it into something that it never was, or they attempt to destroy it from the inside out. Okay? And then they try to attempt to then tell the story of it and just make up a story that they want to run with that has nothing to do with the truth. Okay? So many things came from the Panthers, and there's similarly other quote unquote gangs that things actually came from that we are utilizing today, and they want to demonize these organizations and these groups, right? But also brainwash the new ones coming in with music and have them thinking that what they're a part of is just some thugging and gang banging and shooting up, bang bang and all this stuff. No. Nope. Listen, when I was younger, back in the day, if you were in a gang, none of the gang members could do drugs. You might be able to smoke some weed and get away with some weed, but you better not be doing nothing else. They seen you as a liability. And they would cut you off and out of the gang like that. A lot of them. I don't care. You talking about Mexican, black, but misnomer black, indigenous, Caucasian. They seen you as a liability. Right? For many different reasons. Anyways, I'm going to get back to the topic of this video. And let this play. And like I said, as you guys hear the story of this woman, I'll be putting pictures up. I'm going to edit in some pictures of her because her story is and should be known in a respectable way, right? Not for the clout, not for, people to get views and stuff like that. People need to know this so that they can actually become aware. I was just talking to a 16-year-old who 2 hours before I talked to her, she was invited to go out of town to get a bag down south. Basically, a older man was attempting to take her down south to pimp her out and put her on the hoe stroll. She's 16 years old. She met me 2 hours after she was invited to go get a bag. And it was like divine intervention. Like, this is for real. It's called human trafficking, sex trafficking. This shit happens every fucking day. Listen, since I've been where I'm at right now, there have been at least 4 markers that they put around me. And I picked that shit up because I know what it means, and I know what it looks like. I know what it's for. And I did another video that actually talks about that. But they use broken zip ties, or they'll put a zip tie on a passenger car door, usually opposite of the driver's side. So the driver, if it's somebody driving by themselves, they won't be able to see it. But it marks you as a target for trafficking. Hold on. Speaking of that, I want to make sure they don't got one over here right now. Let me pause it. Okay, so I wanted to just go and kind of like check my little area to make sure that they hadn't thrown any kind of new markers or whatever, since we were speaking about it. And I didn't see any. But the thing is like, if you don't know what the markers look like, if you don't know what they are, then you're more susceptible to getting kidnapped. You're more susceptible to not being aware of your surroundings and know who's who and who's up to what. I looked one of them that threw the marker down. He didn't know I had seen him. And so I looked him dead in his eyeballs, and he knew I knew what he was doing. And he went and he literally attempted to discreetly pick up the marker Because the way I looked at him, I don't know how my looks are, but people always talk about how I give off these looks or whatever. And so I gave off some kind of look. I can't just redo it. I just do looks whenever they're improvisational. They're in the moment. Whatever the look is, the look is. But anyways, I know I gave him a look like probably I'll whoop his ass. So yeah, he came back through and he picked the marker up. He picked the zip tie up and he damn near ran out of a shopping center. Like, I mean, he was walking as fast as you could walk without like being in a full blown run. That's how fast he was walking. And I'm in a wheelchair. And I was inside a building looking at him through a window. Okay? So, yeah. But anyways, so I'm gonna play the last part of this video and then I'm gonna play another one. They want to hone in and say different things about, you know, mental illnesses and drug addictions and things like that. But the way that they're kind of saying it, it's like, okay, she was intoxicated against her will, and then she started using drugs to cope with the torture and different things that she had done. No, that's not how that went. She was drugged and intoxicated against her will. Okay? That's how that went. She didn't just pick up a drug habit to actually cope with that stuff. No, that's part of what she actually went through. That's part of what they did. Yeah, so although that is what was stated in the video and a couple of other videos, that's not how it works. See, because part of what tactics are used is that they don't necessarily just kidnap you and drug you out of your against your will. No, it doesn't happen exactly like that. Some do, okay, but they might poison your food first or your drink first, and then go into doing the others. They could poison your food and get you addicted to the drugs through the food that they've been poisoning you through. And then you're already addicted and you don't even know why. You don't know how. You don't know. Because you didn't know they were doing that in the first place. You don't know. You don't know why you're having these, you know, emotional outbursts or, you know, sways in your moods and different things. You know, sometimes they're doing witchcraft and voodoo and hoodoo and sending entities and spirits and things like that as well. You know, depression is a spirit. Or it can be a spirit. They could send that shit to you. Or project that onto you. Feeling good, you feeling great, and all of a sudden you have that hovering energy, like, you know, all of a sudden you feeling down, all of a sudden you feeling sad, all of a sudden you start thinking about all this negative stuff that you weren't even thinking about, you know, and the shit's playing over and over for no apparent reason. You was living in peace and harmony, and all of a sudden, you know, but you don't know that that's not your energy. You don't know, and you can't decipher that, you know, that is something that does not belong to you, and it's not a part of you, that it's outside of you, and it is like attempting to come into your aura and space. Like you don't know. You can't tell the difference, right? So some of these spiritual things that they do with witchcraft and voodoo, sometimes they work better when you're drunk. Sometimes they work better if you're on drugs. Sometimes it's easier for an entity to take you over, right, if you're drunk. sometimes it's easier for the entity to take you over if you're on prescription pills than if you were in your sane, sound, and right mind with soberness, right? But a lot of people, they don't teach drug education with spirituality, and they don't teach, you know, alcohol knowledge with the spirituality context to it, and how wine and spirits really meant wine, and all these different alcohols invite different spirits, real spirits. They're not saying wine and spirits like it's just a word that they wanted to use. It really means spirits, okay? And a lot of, in the Khalifian territory, they changed it. They changed the store's names from anything to do with spirits, because that's what the stores used to be called. They didn't used to be called liquor stores. They were wine and spirits. Okay? A lot of them across the board. So all them alcohols was spirits, different spirits you was inviting in. You know, when you're doing hoodoo, voodoo, and all that stuff. Hold on. My phone turned off. Okay, my phone turned off. Interesting. Because I know I didn't hold that down to turn it off. Okay, but we're going to get it back up and running. And I'm going to continue with her video. And, you know, I want you guys to keep in mind, like, these other, and if you haven't, like, seen some of these other stories of how these people's, you know, best friends or family members or you know, close friends went on trips, you know, were having some kind of celebration, right? All of these things, and how their situations actually occurred for them to be unalive. Listen, I had studied this doctor who was a holistic doctor that had a lot of issues in the bankrupt United States, right? The corporation. And they had a problem with him because obviously Big Pharma had bought them all out pretty much. And they did not like that during his day and age that he was teaching against, you know, basically what Rockefeller was attempting to destroy and annihilate, which was holistic with a W, and herbal, natural, not natural in the newer definition, natural in the old school, organic, and organic foods definition, the original organic, right? Before organic even had to be stated, because everything was organic, right? Hold on, let's let the fire truck go by, because I don't know if you guys can hear me over it. Okay, so getting back to this, let's see if it's back up. We're going to pull that video up. Yeah, I really wasn't attempting to make this video that long. However, it is what it is. And, you know, however long it has to be to get the information. You guys watch all kinds of nonsense. You can watch something that actually is beneficial to your life and can assist you in keeping yourself safe, right? Because for me, I feel like the best protection for these babies is to teach them how to keep themselves safe from these predators and adults that want to, you know, cause either physical harm or some kind of abuse or whatever. Teach these babies how to protect themselves. I was 9 years old and I could choke a grown man out in less than 90 seconds. Right? So I had skills that I could protect myself from these adults. And I was a fighter. I could choke him out in less than 30 seconds, but I could whoop some too. Yeah. I was such a good fighter that I literally stopped fighting my hardest because I wasn't trying to fight so hard that I unalived people. I was just trying to whoop their ass. Like, I wasn't trying to go that far, because I found out in 7th grade how fragile, life really is. It really is fragile. It's hanging by a thread. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's it's like a piece of glass, like a glass, a wine glass, or not even a wine glass. It's fragile.
Hey y'all.
So I'm going to
Let's get into it.
I'm going to go back to hopefully where it was at, and let you guys hear it from there. I think it was at this point right here. So
It is disgusting.
this is her son
That other
talking.
people of color are doing this to her in her community.
I, as a black, queer, trans person, cannot do anything because I don't want to see hashtag Suzy Perez because my mom is not a social media topic. I am 19 years old.
See, and another thing that I feel for him is because, right, at some point my sons are going to be old enough. They're still babies, right? They're going to be old enough to be 19 years old, right? They're going to be old enough to know what has been done and has been said against their mom. And so I feel for him because I know that my sons are going through this like now, but not necessarily in open social media like that, right? They're having to go through this in private with alleged family members, right? Saying all these lies about me, right? And attempting to defame, slander my good character to them in private, or use it in an abusive way to make my babies think, that I don't love them or that I gave them up in some way. No, my sons were kidnapped by policy enforcers with guns, right? So let's be 1,000 in fraud as criminals, them being the criminals, not me. So only God and them know, like, this young man is feeling some type of way about these people, right? But do my sons know the truth about what I have done to attempt to get them back, and how these people have attempted to come against me? And listen, these people tried to unalive me numerous times and failed. Thankfully, failed. Hitmen, poisons, drugs, you name it. Right? Sending people to act like they were wanting to be in, committed relationships with me. The whole time they were there with ill will and ill intentions, right? To get close enough to me so that they could be in a position to try to hurt me. Right? So, yeah, I feel for this young man. And that's why I also I wanted to do this video, but I didn't want to do this video, because I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to upset him, and I want to disrespect him and how he feels and what is going on with him and his mom. But I am going through this, only I came out on the other side, right? And I came out being able to identify how it happened to her and how it has happened to other people, but not be sucked in and consumed by it, and not be a victim of it, but not a victim of it. Be victorious over it. over their plots and plans of their evil, wicked, diabolical plans from greed, jealousy, and envy. And I can only imagine, right? It's not even an imagine. That's why they did it to this woman. She beautiful and successful, right? Bright future. I know how they did it to her because they tried to do it to me. They tried to do it to me. But I've been on these streets since I was a child. So even though I'm kind, even though I am professional and I can be professional and articulate, right? Even though I can hold myself to the corporate standards, right? Don't forget, I was raised on these streets from a very young age. I know what's going on. I see it. And I have attempted to tell people, just because I don't call it, just because I don't speak on it all the time, just because I don't call you out, right? Sapphire Hartley, Letitia Holt Payton, Dolores Diane, Dee Dee Sunshine, Hartley Barnes Smith, just because I hadn't called you guys out did not mean I didn't see your asses. Not only physically and what you guys were attempting to do on this plane of existence in reality, but in the spiritual, right?
Get it. This that
Just
go and get
because
it. With no hesitation.
I didn't call you guys
This that
out
never quit. Start
a
that
while ago,
elevation. This that
right?
process.
Doesn't mean
this that started from the
that
bottom.
I
This that
haven't
motivation.
known.
This that opportunity.
Maybe
Me
not
and
all
Pepper-
of the evil, wicked things that you guys have said and done, right? But I've known quite a bit. I know Letitia Holt Payton found an email, right, that I had sent to my dad years ago. I'm talking about early 2000s, where once she became, once she passed the bar, and I seen how she was doing our grandmother's estate, and supposed to be helping our father, with gaining his inheritance, right? I told my father, I said, she made her an alliance and it's not to her family. Now, when I typed out those words, I knew that there was going to be a day she seen it. Listen, I knew through and through. I already knew. I wrote it knowing she's going to see it. I knew she was going to see it one day. And it just happened to be after she was involved with, my false imprisonment. And it wasn't a coincidence that while I was false imprisoned and she wouldn't file not one document as an attorney to ensure that I could be at our father's funeral in the flesh, right? It wasn't a coincidence that he was unalived while I was false imprisoned. I don't find that coincidental. So was I wrong about what I wrote in that email? How she had chosen who her alliances were with foreign entities of the Lords of London and, the British Bar Association? Was I wrong or was I right? Did I foresee that? Did I call it? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Because she seen it. And then she tried to bring it up to me like I was going to feel some type of way that she seen it. I already knew you was gonna see it. Newsflash. When I wrote it. My intuition, my psychic abilities, I don't know, whatever you want to equate it to, whatever you want to give credit to, I knew you were going to see it. But was I wrong? Or was I right? I think I was right. I'm quite sure I was right. So anyway, let's get back to this.
Now, people are questioning his motives because on his Instagram page, he has two GoFundMes. One for his mother's recovery and another for him personally, asking for $10,000, the same amount of money he's asking for his mom. It's definitely something fishy about it, but I hope he has the right intentions. Real to really want it. I hope that Suzy gets better one day and is able to fully explain her story, write a book, make a movie, and just really explain her struggles in detail and be an inspiration to other women. Well, that's it for this video.
So exactly what this guy is saying that he would hope from her is what I can do, right? Write a book, explain my story, which I have just barely started doing, right, on my YouTube channel, and be an inspiration to others. But you have to hear how it goes wrong as well. You have to hear these stories too. You have to hear those, right? You have to hear those. And you have to hear the opposite, which would be mine. Where they tried all of those. They failed at all of those, attempting to do every tactic that I'm sure they did with her. Listen, it is, I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. It's not. To beat stuff like this, to not fall susceptible, to know and be aware, to, you know, my intuition is on fire, right? My intuition has definitely saved my life. My spirit team has saved my life, right? Not everybody makes it out of this situation with their sanity. Not everybody makes it out of these situations able to love, able to trust, able to function as a healthy individual. Not everybody makes it out not being addicted to a substance, whether that's alcohol or drugs, right? That they have been forced. You know, that video said she was forced, right, for alcohol. If they're forcing alcohol, they ain't forcing drugs. You gotta be kidding me. Listen, I went into a nightclub one time, and at the bar, a bartender that worked behind the bar, employed by the establishment, drugged me. I literally had one drink, right? This was years ago, right? I had one drink. My second drink, I took a few sips out of, bam, I I was ready to pass out. I went to the ladies' room and started violently throwing up, to the point that I passed out in the bathroom, but not before I had somebody get an ambulance contacted, because I was like, something ain't right. Passed out, woke up in the hospital. Somebody behind the bar, do you hear me? Drugged me. Thankfully, see, I knew something wasn't right by that second. I was like, whoa, this ain't, you know, because you drink something, right? And you have, you know, maybe drank for a while, you know, let's say even a couple weeks or a month, right? You start to know, you know, how alcohol does with your body, right? And so I knew that's not how alcohol interacted with my body. I took that first sip, second sip, no, that's not, something ain't right. See, but another thing that I would say, there's two other main things that I would say, other than my intelligence, that have saved my life. And that is that I am so knowledgeable in health and fitness about the body and how it works, right? To know how to combat some of these things that they have attempted to use to unalive me. Okay? And then the other would be that I chew my food very well. So things that should have been ingested to harm me failed to harm me because I never swallowed it. You know, certain things, you got three main ways it's going in: ear, nose, and throat. Ears, nose, and throat, right? Those are the main ways. Unless it is like some kind of injection or some kind of, you know, sexually transmitted disease, or some kind of sexually transmitted demon. You know, they talk about STDs. Not everybody talks about the spiritual incubus and succubus. I watched this young man because I don't trust him. I'm gonna do a video on him. But this young man, they gave him some bad drugs, right? But he has some elders around him that are leading him down a dark and ugly path. And you know what? He's actually a decent looking young man, right? And the first time I seen him wigging out on some drugs, I was like, man, whoever did this to him, you know, that's foul. He was out of his mind doing all these like flailing arms and stuff like that. And then all the times I seen him after that, he was doing that. Just recently, the last two times I seen him, he was like acting normal. Like, I had him in a video that I recorded the other day, and I don't know if it was because I was recording him and he knew it was gonna go on YouTube, or because some of what he does is definitely acting, for sure, because he has utilized his acting skills to try to, basically, some people, they try to use like that they're drunk or on drugs to use that as a way for you to put your guard down because, oh, they're supposed to be fucked up. But they really ain't. And so they're utilizing that to get people off their guard with that individual. And then that individual is not intoxicated at all. And then they do what they intended to do. So that is a tactic that is used also, right? He was walking one day. I'll just tell you guys now. He was walking with this elderly man. It was at night. And I was rolling my wheelchair one way, and he was rolling with that dude walking the other way. Watch out for my broom handle. Right there. Okay. Anyways, he was walking one way, and I was rolling the same direction originally, and I turned around and started rolling the opposite direction because I dropped my phone on the ground. And so at first, Spirit was like, no, don't pick it up, right? Something told me don't pick it up, and then it was like, yeah, pick it up, right? When I had the thought to pick it up, they had already passed where I had rolled to, right? So when I went to pick it up, that youngster had turned his body and came towards me as I'm bent over in what would be a compromising, vulnerable position, right? And the older dude was like, he had signaled to him, don't do it, because across the street was an angel. Right? So not only did I look up fast enough because I already felt in my spirit, and Spirit had already told me don't pick it up, and then do pick it up, I already knew that there was something not right that I needed to be aware of. But if I didn't go to pick it up, I wouldn't have seen that he wasn't all drugged up and coming back to me to try to sucker punch me while I was in a vulnerable position. This is not that long ago. That's why I told that youngster, I said, don't come around me, don't come near me. You come within 40 feet of me, which is the spraying distance for this pepper spray, you getting sprayed. You in spraying distance, you getting sprayed. Right? So, yeah, I had to just break it down to him like that, because I seen if I wouldn't have went to pick it up, and waited for them to be far gone, I never would have seen that his real intention was to hurt me in the first place. But I went to do that. He turned around because they're going this way. I was going that way, and it was like that. But I dropped my phone and I came back against them, against the direction that they're walking. So we passed each other, and I'm going back. And then he turned. Once I go to pick up my phone, he has to go back the opposite direction, right? Which shows his true intentions, because he doesn't keep walking straight. He came to sucker punch me. I am far from stupid. But I was also going to make it up and in a non-vulnerable position, right, before he could do anything. And just because I'm in a wheelchair does not mean that I am an easy target. Not this one. And not only that, God had an angel across the street watching their asses too. So as I'm doing that, the older dude sees the dude across the street, and he was walking and peeping the whole thing like, I got you. Because it was two of them, and then it would have been two of us. One in a wheelchair, but I'm a superhero even from a wheelchair. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Keep that under wraps, okay? But anyways, I'm gonna end this video. I was going to show you guys another one or whatever, or let you guys listen to another one. I really don't like how these people speak about this woman, but I want you guys to be aware of, you know, all these other people that have been taken out, literally murdered, right? Unalived, and see what are the common denominators, what are the common threads, what are the patterns, what are is it that these people are doing. Oh, that's the story that I was actually going to tell you guys. Then I'm going to end this video. Okay, so I had studied this guy, and he had because there's a lot of people, not just Dr. Sebi, that have actually healed. I'm not going to say the C word. They have healed cancer, diabetes, um, you know, they have healed, you know, HIV and, you know, all these different things. So, and a lot of times it all stems from themselves becoming ill and sick and figuring out health for their own body. And because people are in specific genomes and population, what helps them heal will work for people of the same type of population. Okay, so when people are attempting to say everybody needs to eat like this, everybody needs to you know, use this types of stuff, no, that's not true. People have, based on their blood types, based on their muscle fiber types, based on their DNA, DEA, you know, there's many different components that and variables that as a fitness expert I would take into consideration when designing a program for an individual. And everybody's body is different, so it is not a one size fits all and everybody in totality has to or should be eating vegan, or everybody should be eating meat. You should be eating based on what your nutritional requirements are, based on your DEA, DNA, based on what your mineral and water intake should be, based on there's a lot of things. You do not tell people that they all need to eat, drink, and sleep the same. That's not true. Okay? People have various different requirements based on their cultures even, right? Their lineage and what their cultures have done. You know, then you got to take into consideration their religious background and what they subscribe to religiously, you know? And so you could tell somebody you need to, you know, eat these fruits, but guess what? If they're diabetic, you could kill them. They're hypoglycemic, you could kill them. Right? So you cannot just tell people to do these things and not know or have their health history and their family health history, right? Because you could actually kill them. But anyways, I'm gonna get back to Dr. Gerson. Dr. Gerson was a Caucasian man, and he would have migraine headaches. And his migraine headaches. Sunburn? Me? I'm actually right in the middle of recording a video for YouTube, sweetheart. All right, well, I hope you don't get too sunburned. She's out here in her bra. It's hot. It's hot today. It is hot. And I think she was, I couldn't hear everything she was saying, but I think she was asking me, like, was I going to get sunburned because I'm sitting right here in the sun because it's hot out here. And it's not even technically summer yet, so it's going to be a hot summer. Okay, because I was sweating earlier, and I don't sweat, and I was sweating in the shade. Okay, so anyways, getting back to Dr. Gerson, he would have these migraine headaches, right? And so what he did is he basically cut every food out of his nutritional program, and he started basically just adding one thing in at a time. Okay, now a lot of elders that are from the islands that are indigenous elders, they talk about apples being cancerous. However, this Caucasian man, the first food that he utilized and that he used as a base and foundation was apples. And what he noticed is that eating the apples, he was not getting the migraines, right? And then from there, he just started slowly adding in foods and seeing which ones were, attributing to his migraines, right? And I think he had some other health issues that he was dealing with, but he basically was all about nutrition. And a lot of fitness experts and a lot of personal trainers are going to hate me for saying this, but we would say it, but it was some, not myself, but some, a lot, majority, I'm not going to lie, majority will downplay the importance of nutrition when it comes, they will downplay the importance of nutrition when it comes to fitness. They want to make it seem like, exercising and cardio and all of those things are more important, but 75%, look it up, 75% of your results in fitness are going to come from your nutrition. That's huge. So the other 25% are the other components that deal with health. To me, you do have to have them all simultaneously working together, right? For a sound fitness program and for, you to get the optimal results and the fastest results, right? So yeah, you have to have them all down to a science, and it's very scientific. It's very, to me, being that it is scientific, that to me makes it easy. Like it's like real step by step per se. Some people find that a little bit more difficult, right? But I would have no problem weighing and measuring my food, and what I actually had meal prepped since I was like 19 years old. So it's like second nature, right? So, but other people, they have problems with that. Even a lot of the women, majority of the women that were doing figure and bodybuilding competitions, that's the food is what they struggled with. That was like to me the easiest part, right? Because I was already doing it. That's how I live my life. My cheats are other people's healthy. So anyways, once in a while I'll do a cheat, but like today, a woman gave me a pizza, but the pizza is gluten-free dough because I'm gluten intolerant. It had no cheese because I'm lactose intolerant. I had chicken on there and all kind of vegetables. Now the sauce, I should have told her to put garlic butter or garlic, something, olive oil or whatever, but I totally forgot about that. So it is red sauce, but I don't normally do red sauce. And that I'm pretty sure their sauce probably has some gluten in it. But out of everything, that's a pretty healthy, for me, nutritionally correct, because I'm gluten intolerant and I'm lactose intolerant, and it covered both of those, right? For the most part. I might have got a little gluten in the sauce, right? But I'm not actually sure, because she knew that I was, gluten intolerant. That's why she used the gluten intolerant dough, right? Crust. So, yeah. But the thing is like, that's still a cheat because it's pizza. But it's healthy still because I don't have all that junk on there, And when I would make my own pizzas, like back in the day, right, before I was even a fitness trainer at all, I used to make authentic Italian pizza from scratch. So the dough was fresh, and use different ingredients. You're not putting all those, it doesn't have all those extra chemicals, like you're buying the dough already pre-made, or the crust already, panned out or whatever for you. And then I was putting the authentic Italian ingredients, which is not the same as Americanized United States pizzas, right? It's different. And it actually is a lot healthier when you do the authentic pizzas from Italy. Okay. So anyways, they use a lot of different ingredients that people probably over here might not actually even use. But also the Italian cheeses are a lot healthier as well, right? I noticed that the Italian cheeses, they didn't mess me up like the American cheeses did. Like the Asiagos and stuff like that, they didn't mess me up like the American cheeses. Not at all, you know. And I'm quite sure that it has to do with the lineage of cows and, you know, the feed. I'm sure it deals with the antibiotics and different things that, you know, I'm sure it's a whole bunch of different reasons why. Okay, because they don't allow certain things, right, ingredients in their foods and stuff like that. Okay, so getting back to Dr. Gerson. So his best friend actually was the one that was approached to unalive him, right? His best friend, and his best friend went with it, right? His best friend poisoned him, and then because Dr. Gerson was like thinking that this is his best friend, right? When he was poisoned, you know, he talked to his best friend, and he was like, you know, his best friend was like, well, how is it that you're still living, you know, after you've been poisoned and all this stuff? And he was like, I'm using my own therapy. So he was using his own type of therapy to, you know, help heal his body. You know what I'm saying? And that's how he actually survived it. You know? And so it's just crazy that his friend got that information and used it to kill him. Yes, his best friend. Okay, so when you hear these stories, you read them, you watch them, the real deals, right? You see the Shanquillas, you see the Suzy Perez's, right? You see, there's the Nipsey Hussles, right? The man that shot him was supposed to be one of his really close friends at one point, right? So you see these things, you hear these things, pay attention, because jealousy and envy, right, they can be very dangerous. And when I say dangerous, I mean life changing, life altering, to the point that jealous and envious people will attempt to unalive you. They will attempt to murder you, right? Jealous people are very dangerous, right? And that's why I know God and my spirit team had to expose these people who were in my circle as friends, as alleged family members, right? That had these jealous, envious, ill will intentions behind those evil ass smiles. Okay? Real talk. I'm gonna end it now. Okay? Look up these people. Look up Dr. Sebi. You know, Dr. Sebi was talking about different people in his family that he didn't trust and that weren't around him before that all that stuff happened. Yeah. Even Dr. Sebi too. And I know I'm gonna do a video on him because I know why he wasn't eating that jail food. Because I was false in prison. And coming from a fitness expert background, right? You know what's in that food. And I did grievances on the food from a professional lens. And I broke it down. Did diagrams, okay, on my grievance. They probably ain't never seen no grievance like that. Okay? So, anyways, I'm gonna see if I can find that. That would be a good one to do a video on too. But anyways, peace, love, and light. I hope you guys gained something out of this video. If you did, you better hit that thumbs up because you know I deserve it. And people, when you hit that thumbs up, you know that it changes the algorithm and it gets the word out to more people. Don't play. Hitting that thumbs up is free. It is absolutely free to do. Don't be a hater. Hit the thumbs up, you know? And if it helped you, substantially or in, a heartwarming way, or, you feel like you could share this with some young people that need to hear some of this stuff, help me out with some Cash App. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually out here doing this with, like, on the strength, like literally out here homeless, houseless, having to go different places. And man, I literally almost had to fight a tweaker today just to plug up my laptop so I could even do this video. I'm fighting tweakers just so I could come to you guys and do videos. Like, I'm telling you, this dude was really trying to come at me sideways and very racist. I put on the community board his picture and what he wrote all over the side of a trash can. Yeah, it's some pretty disturbing stuff. He says rape is good, kill all niggers. He talks about letting dogs do stuff to children inappropriately, right? So he has animals in there, children in there, women in there, and misnomered black people, which are the indigenous. And no, it's just all disturbing. Like, I mean, this dude was, and that, yes, he was on drugs, but there's only so much you can blame on drugs. Okay? I mean, it's a combination of drugs and demons and demonic entities, whatever. But some of that is just people. There's some evil ass people out here. Okay, but anyways, like I said, I'm in this video. Peace. Have a good day, everyone. Peace, love, and light. You know what? Make it a good day. You have a choice and an obligation to yourself. Don't let these haters get you down. Don't let them change your mood, elevate you, and move you some type of way. Peace. What I find interesting is that these people are drug addicts, pill poppers. They do very unhealthy habits, smoke cigarettes or, various different types of things. But they have the nerve to sit up here and say, and fix their lips to say that I am unhealthy. These women can't even keep a healthy weight, right? But I'm unhealthy.